Hi, this is your host Swapnil Bhartia, and we are here at KubeCon in Seattle. And today we have with us Premal Buch from Robin Systems. So thanks for coming to the show. We are here at KubeCon, right? So what has been your impression so far?
So, if you look at the Kubernetes journey, Kubernetes really picked up a lot of momentum in the last 12 to 18 months. If you look at containers themselves, maybe 2016 was the year of Docker. 17 was all about Kubernetes. Slowly we started talking about stateful sets and how to handle storage and data along with Kubernetes. Now I think the industry is ready for taking Kubernetes to enterprise stateful applications. We're seeing a lot of discussion about that, not a lot of solutions, and that's where we come in. We have our own take on Kubernetes. We call it hyper-converged Kubernetes, which is all about handling big data, databases, AI, ML, the kind of applications that nobody else is running on Kubernetes today. That's where we come in and make that possible.
What is the significance of stateful application in today's containerized and cloud-native world?
So you can run stateless applications around at the higher level, but at the core of it, you have data that you are leveraging when you are running analytics, you are running machine learning. That core data, which is either it's a Hadoop, NoSQL database, or traditional operational databases, that still is handled somewhere outside of Kubernetes by most setups. And that's where we come and say, that also can benefit from the same portability, agility benefits. And we bring that DevOps flow, DevOps benefits to the DBAs, the Hadoop admins, the folks who are dealing with this complex, hairy, data-driven applications.
And what kind of customers are still using stateful applications, and what are the kind of business benefits?
So every application, enterprise application, whether it is you're talking about operational databases running HR and finance and sales data, or whether you are talking about optimizing your business operations, retail experience, all of the stuff that goes into big data analytics, all the way to AI and machine learning, all of that, the foundation of it is data. And that data, whether it is sitting in your old school Oracle or SAP databases, or whether it's sitting in your Hadoop, HDFS, or NoSQL database, that's really where stateless doesn't really cut it. So stateless flows are great for leveraging this data and creating temporary programs that spin up. You can spin them up, tear them down, but ultimately at the end of it, what do you do with all the data, which is petabytes of data that every large organization has to handle? And that's where Robin comes in.
So what kind of customers are you helping with? I mean, I don't want names because of NDAs, but just...
So we work with almost every Fortune 500 company. We've got a lot of traction in the fintech, banking, insurance area. People running their fraud analytics pipeline, for example. That is a typical analytics flow using Elasticsearch, Kafka, Cassandra kind of applications running on top of data that has to be stored somewhere in a persistent fashion. So that's an example. There are other areas, for example, in the travel and leisure industry, all your airline reservation bookings, again, they're managed in operational databases. That's another example. So we see the use of data is everywhere, and everywhere you see data, behind that is some structured, unstructured database, and that we put on Kubernetes. All of these big companies are looking for quote-unquote digital transformation. And they're talking about DevOps flows, the kind of things we're talking about, stateless applications, serverless. That's all great for applications that are not this data-driven application. So when they start looking at their heavier data-driven applications and they're trying to figure out how do I modernize that stuff, that's where we come in, because a lot of these applications were designed without the containers, the microservices in mind. So there are lots of assumptions that are built into Kubernetes that these applications break. So you either have to refactor these applications and rewrite them completely, or you have to live with the old way of doing things, which is bare metal silos. And that's where we come in and say, we will take all these applications, let them run on Kubernetes unmodified, and the Robin software layer magic is how we make that possible, so that we work around without modifying Kubernetes. So we are 100% CNCF compliant, use native trunk Kubernetes, but around it, we have added pieces on storage networking side, which is what we call hyper-converged Kubernetes. That allows you to run your applications unmodified on Kubernetes with Robin.
So they don't have to refactor, because that's a very expensive process.
Exactly. So what you get out of it is all the agility and portability of Kubernetes. Now you can run applications anywhere, whether it's on-premise, on cloud A, cloud B. You have no lock-in. You are able to pack more applications on the same amount of compute resources, storage resources, all of that while getting the predictability that you need for the enterprise side. So all the benefits that you're traditionally associating with Kubernetes, but with the enterprise requirements like role-based access control, IOPS control, the ability to use applications that are designed before containers and use them as is. That's that marriage of the old and new is what we really bring to the table.
And if I'm not wrong, you are kind of helping companies as they embark on their cloud native journey from the which also means that they are willing to shed a lot of weight from the past and embracing new technologies because they are.
Exactly. So ultimately, Kubernetes is what we use as a technology, but the user experience is that one-click cloud native experience where you can on-demand spin up clusters, move them around. If you want to go from on-premise to AWS to Azure, one geo to another geo, all of those things become seamless operations. Lifecycle management becomes one-click. So all of this DevOps style CI/CD flows, self-service environment, all of that is now replicated for these big, complex distributed applications.
And when you deal with Kubernetes, of course, it's a relatively new technology. And what are the big challenges that you see, your customer face, and you're like, hey, the community still need to solve this?
Yeah, so we see the Kubernetes has been designed, so there are two things that we see. One, it is fairly complex. So a lay user who is not a Kubernetes expert, not some of the folks that you might see here, the certified Kubernetes guys, they often struggle with that. So that's one. There is a usability aspect that a lot of people want all the benefits, but without having to do all the complex scripting work behind the scenes. So we see that a lot. The other thing that we see is just design-wise, Kubernetes really embraces the microservice philosophy. The ability to say that a container or a pod can move anywhere and it has all the information that you need to go with it is captured inside the pod. That kind of stuff breaks with a lot of these custom applications which are designed without containers in mind, and that's where we see the second set of pain. And those are the two things that we solve. We make it possible to run applications as is and get a self-service experience without needing to be a Kubernetes expert. Now, if you want to get inside the hood and run, your kubectl scripts, we can allow you to do that. So certainly you've got full access to Kubernetes unvarnished, but for the folks who don't want to be that power user, they also get this self-service UI-driven experience, and that's what we bring to the table.
We are at the end of 2018. So as we walk into or drive or whatever, Elon Musk will be taking a rocket into 2019. What do you expect, where the market will be, or what trends do you see?
I think we are getting to the point where some of the easy stuff has been done. So I think the next thing is going to be how do you do the hard stuff. That's where all these enterprise applications come in. So I think you are getting to this chasm point where the early adopters, the people who like to mess around with the code, they have adopted, embraced it, and are running with it. Now, to get the entire mainstream tail of the market, we are going to do a lot more things to bring them onto the Kubernetes bandwagon. That's where we hope that we can make an impact.